Welcome. Welcome, my sisters. I'm so excited to be live here with you in the Shamanic Sister Circle. It's been a real while that I haven't been. Last time I was live here, I was still living in Bali. That was 4 months ago. So it's been a long while. I would love to know how everyone has been doing. Many of you, of course, I have been in touch with, anyways. But let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's new in your life. I'm really happy that we get to reconnect here. I'm really happy that today I get to answer all of your questions about shamanism. I have been, apart from being busy with moving, I have also been really busy with running the shaman initiation over the last few months. And I've got over 100 questions this month alone about shamanism. We're not going to get through all of that today. So everyone who's here live, please post your questions again. I've prepared some to answer, but there's just been so many really good ones. I want to talk about anything and everything that really interests you. So feel free to pop them now into the comments if you're watching this later on the replay and I didn't answer your question. Pop them in now, and I really look forward to giving you custom tailored guidance here as well. And Danielle, hi! Oh my God, it's been way too long. How are you doing? Danielle is one of my apprenticeship graduates. And yeah, I really look forward to diving in here. So, like I said before, I've been really busy running the initiation, and these are the last 3 days I'm running it. I'm gonna close it down on Friday, and this is a 3-day training. So if you join today, you can still participate, and I'm inviting everyone to join for free. I put the link in the description of this live, so you could just click on it and it will guide you directly to the group with all of the content, and you can just dive in. It is a really life-changing training. It will give you tons of clarity and confidence on your path as a healer, and it also answers all the basic questions about shamanism. So take advantage of that before I close the program down. And anyone who's interested in a full apprenticeship and really training as a shamanic healer, getting certified, and building a successful business as well, this is the last chance to get on a chat with me to talk about that, see if it's something that aligns with your path at this time, because I will close down registration soon. We are nearing capacity within the program. So absolutely get on a chat with me if you want to explore this option. The link for that is also in the description. Great. So let's dive in here. Any questions for me? You can pop them into the comments now or later if you're watching this on the replay, and I'm going to check the questions that I have already received. And like I said, oh my God, there's way too many to answer them all, but I will do my best. And if any of you have a particular personal question, don't hesitate to ask me that as well. It doesn't have to be just purely about shamanism. Good. I'm going to make sure everyone knows that we are live here as well. The reason why I am not doing as many lives in here as I used to is because the algorithm in Facebook is really annoying. So people don't get notified about stuff that's happening, about posts, about videos and stuff. So it just doesn't make that much sense anymore. I really want to serve you all in the best way possible, and the way that I've been doing that is really running the initiation, making sure that you can explore your path, you can explore shamanism and your calling, and that you also know what you need to do to take the next steps on this path. So that doesn't mean I don't want to use the space anymore. I love this group. I love this women's circle. So I encourage you all to engage here with each other. This is a really great space to support each other, ask each other questions. We are all women who are walking this path. It is quite an uncommon path. So it is really important that we just further this sisterhood as much as we can, and we really support each other. So any questions you have, just always never hesitate to just post them into the group, and ask for support and ask for input from the other members. And we're here to celebrate you and each other. And I also have quite a few new apprentices who started on the warrior plan, who are completing the program with the help of this group as well. So any of you ladies who've just started, Titi, Tracy, Martha, who else? There's been so many of you. I can't think of it right now, but if I'm talking about you, I mean you. So never hesitate to reach out here for support as well. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, Nicolina asked, how can I change subconscious beliefs? Okay, so that's a really good question. So I want to start with explaining how things work in shamanism. So basically, the tree of life is a metaphor for um, who we are as human beings and how our energy works. So basically, the roots of the tree are symbolize the subconscious. The trunk is our incarnated experience as a soul in a body, and the branches is the soul, the eternal part of who we are. So how can you change subconscious beliefs? By learning how to travel the realm of the subconscious, which we call in shamanism the lower realm. So by learning shamanic journeying, basically. And shamanic journeying is nothing else than learning how to access your subconscious and your superconscious, right? So usually in your everyday consciousness, you have access to what we call the middle mind, right? It's related to what you can see, hear, feel, and touch, right? But our higher senses, when we develop them, when we learn shamanic journeying step by step in the way that I teach in Shamanic Stars, then you really can just understand what's going on subconsciously, and you can let these things rise into your consciousness, and that's how you can really change subconscious beliefs. You have to become aware of them first, and then you have to actually experience the feelings that are related to those beliefs, and that is how those beliefs are changed. And we can do that in a variety of ways. um, Subconscious beliefs are often related to our inner child. They are often related to our shadows. Shamanic inner child work, shamanic shadow work, that's really powerful. I'm also launching a new membership. I haven't officially done a launch yet, but I'm already letting you know about it. The Moon Tribe, which has been my membership for a long time, but I'm relaunching it at the moment in a different way with more content and also with live sessions, which we haven't had before. It is really very affordable. So if you're like, okay, I can't afford a full shamanic training right now, and I can't afford to start a business right now, but I do need the self-healing, I do need the self-care, I do need the money healing, because those are the foundations of becoming a successful healer. If you want to spend time on that, then I really recommend the Moon Tribe. Let me know if you want the link to that. And we also have all of my do-it-yourself courses in there, like I just mentioned, shamanic inner child healing, shamanic shadow integrations, working with the feminine archetypes, working with the dark goddess, with your higher self, with your chakras. It is really all there. So this is a really good thing to do if you're thinking, okay, the apprenticeship is too much time for me at the moment, too much money for me at the moment. Then you can definitely start there. It's a really good start. And once you do join an apprenticeship, whether with me or with someone else, you'll have a much better basis for that. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Danielle is asking, I've done a lot of work and yet feel stuck to get my true voice out into the world. What could be keeping me stuck from really sharing my heart? Oh yeah, definitely the right space to answer that question for you, Danielle. So a general answer to that would be, everything to do with expressing yourself in the world is related to your throat chakra. So maybe, this would be a good thing for you to do, work with your chakras and really free your throat chakra. It might be underactive. Make sure there is more energy flowing into that. And you're also mentioning what keeps me from sharing from my heart. So it might also be connected to the heart chakra. You might have built up a heart wall. Many of us have done that. We've gotten hurt, and all of us have. And so we built up this protection, right? And we can't really feel what's actually going on with ourselves. And so, of course, it is really hard to also live from the heart, right? So that is really also a topic you can work on with shamanic chakra healing, of course. Inner child healing is a really good one for that. And I know you've done all of this work before, but all of us have like a life theme, right? And our biggest wounds and traumas are connected to that. And with this life theme, we just have to keep working with it. And I know that you have the shamanic tools to work with that. So my question would be, do you actually have, is your shamanic practice at the moment really active? Do you take care of yourself in a shamanic way in the mornings and the evenings, really tuning in with yourself and seeing what you actually need? Are you doing your shamanic journeys? Are you connecting to your guides? Are you giving yourself healings? Are you getting healings from other shamans? So this would be my question to you. That would be the best advice I can give you to keep working on that. And yeah, maybe the Moon Tribe membership might be a good way for you to be held accountable to actually do these things, because I feel like many of the questions that I have received, you know, about how to do something or how to get started or how to keep doing something, a lot of the time I just want to say, like, find someone to hold you accountable, because many of you already know how things work, you already know how to do things. But if you are not enrolled in a training currently, if you don't have someone there sitting in front of you who holds you accountable, it can be really hard to actually do that stuff. So my best friend and I, we've just started a Telegram group where we post our goals for the week and our action steps and stuff like that. And it keeps us really, holds us accountable to actually getting the things done that we want to get done. You know, because so many times we feel like there are these to-dos and that's what's important. But actually what's important to us, heart and soul, is something different. Like for me, for example, I want to be much more creative again, which is one of the reasons why I'm launching the membership, because I actually get to create new content all the time and it's what I love doing. I also, of course, love holding sessions. I get to do that with my apprentices, of course. I get to support my initiates. It's all stuff I'm loving, but I've really neglected the creative side in the past year or so. And so it really is great to have someone to hold you accountable. So absolutely consider joining the Moon Tribe if you feel like you need that to really, you know, to stick to your practice and to really get the results that you want from it. And yeah, I think that would be my answer to that. And if you want, Danielle, I can also draw a card for you later on, if you'd like that. Let me know if that was helpful so far. Okay, so back to the questions I've already received. Amanda was asking, how can I use my gifts to help pregnant women and new moms? Well, that really depends on what you want to help them with. Now, in general, you know, whoever you want to help as a healer, if you haven't been trained in shamanism yet, that would be my recommendation, because whoever you want to help, you get to only help them like at the core of their problem, at the origin of whatever they're dealing with, if you know how to perform energy extractions and soul retrievals and power retrievals, because you know that's what you need for lasting healing. That's the soul level healing we all need with, you know, when whatever issue we have that keeps coming up, that is persistent in our lives, it has a soul level cause, right? And that also ties into your second question, how to discover more of my gifts. And again, the answer is shamanism. You know, it's really how to understand who you are on all the levels, right? Everything is energy, and shamanism is really just this really powerful way of understanding energy on all the different levels, and also how to influence it for good, right? And in my training, like, I really guide you step by step into discovering your gifts and also developing them and learning how to use them safely for yourself and others. So again, 2-step plan: learn shamanic journeying, really how to access higher consciousness and also the subconscious, and second, learn shamanic healing, how to remove energies that don't belong to a person, how to bring back what they've lost in the course of this lifetime and other lifetimes. That would be my advice here. And how to develop a thriving business around my purpose. There is, I talk about that a lot in day 3 of the initiation. So anyone who hasn't done that, dive into it. So basically what you need first of all for that is clarity on your purpose, right? We all have a different purpose. If you just like, you know, you want to be a healer and you know you want to help people, that's a great basis to get started with, but it's not enough to build a successful business. You have to really know, what are my gifts? What do I have experience with? What is my soul purpose? Why did I incarnate in the first place? If you don't have clarity on that, it gets really difficult to manifest it into the 3D in the form of an actual business with clients and money coming in and actually fulfilling your purpose, actually helping people with what only you can help them. Every one of us has a unique purpose, and finding that out is part of what I teach women. And to be honest, it takes 5 months, you know, to get to that point of crystal clarity. After those 5 months, you know, when you've been through the self-care, the self-healing specifically for healers, when you've completed the shamanic training, when you've, and you know, then it's time to before it's time to build your business, you will have that clarity, but it takes those 5 months of really diving very deep into yourself. And by the time women start the business coaching, they always have that clarity, but it takes time. It's your life purpose. It's what your whole life evolves around. It's the most important thing in your life. So it takes some time to discover it. And you have to really get a grip of shamanism first before you can go that deep with yourself. And also, I think you really need a mentor, who can guide you each step of the way, because it's kind of easy to get lost within the energetic realms if you don't have someone to actually check in with you who really knows these realms and is willing to guide you each step of the way. Hi Bita, welcome. Hi Peter, welcome. Bita says, I want to know the role of my twins in my life, or vice versa. What do you mean your twins? Like you have twins as in your children, or you mean a twin flame or twin flames? So please describe a little bit more about what your question exactly is. Good. Now, Amanda, I hope that was answering your questions. Now, Hope asked, how does shamanic healing differ from Reiki? Now, I also talk about that in the shaman initiation. Reiki is basically a small part of what we do in shamanism, but it comes after the actual shamanic healing part. So after taking away negative energies that don't belong, after bringing back soul pieces and power pieces, that's when Reiki comes in, which is basically channeling a specific energy that the person needs at this time to help them integrate that healing, to really give them an energy boost. So for me, Reiki in itself is like a little bit of an incomplete healing practice, and it has developed from shamanism. It is a shamanic practice. So I'm not saying it's a useless practice. It is a good practice. It is a powerful practice, but it is incomplete if you only do Reiki, from my experience. And I was actually talking to Minna yesterday, who has been a Reiki practitioner of 20 years. And I have my best friend here in Thailand, also is a Reiki master of 20 years. And I'm teaching them right now, the rest of this practice, right? So that it really, when you're already trained in Reiki, it's great. You're gonna have an easier time with shamanism. It's gonna really help you. It's gonna help your clients. But you need to learn that first bit, because otherwise, when you only know Reiki, you're just building this kind of, bridge, and people do feel better for a while. But it's just like filling up a fridge. You're gonna, then eat what's in the fridge, and it's gonna be empty again. And this is kind of the thing that happens with Reiki. You're filling someone up with good energy, but that energy is gonna be used up, and they're gonna be stuck with the same problem. And of course, if the problem is not something that's on a soul level, it can be solved with Reiki. It can be healed. But usually, when people are looking for a healer, they have an issue that is a soul level issue, and shamanism is the only modality that we have to really move soul level energy. Okay, Peter, you're asking about the role of your kids, your twins in your life. Can you be a little bit more specific? I think kids, have so many different roles in our lives, right? I mean, in general, I can talk about this and say that kids come into our lives to help us heal, right? Usually kids come in when we've had quite a few chances to heal our soul level wounds and we haven't managed to do that. Then kids come in to kind of force us to, because our kids are always here, they're always around us. We can't run away from them like we can from romantic partners that soul level wounds also often come up with. And so we kind of have to deal with the problem, and they bring part of that wisdom that we need. So kids are a challenge, obviously. That's why they are triggering us so much, because they are poking into our deepest wounds, but they're doing that for a reason. They're doing that for the purpose of helping us heal. But of course, we need to recognize that and not find fault in them. Not feel guilty either for our own shortcomings, but rather see it as a chance to really understand our soul level wounds and to actively heal them. And Peter's asking if you can tell me what my soul purpose and the path to get my gifts, it would be appreciated. I cannot tell you your soul purpose. Nobody else can tell you what your soul purpose is. It's a journey of self-discovery. You have to get to know your own soul. Nobody else can do that for you. So I was talking in the beginning of this life about exactly how to do that. So if you weren't here yet, maybe you want to listen back to the first part of this on the recording. Clarity, what your gifts are. Same thing. I was talking about that as well. It's a journey of discovery. So my advice for you would be to learn shamanic journeying. If you haven't been in the initiation yet, start there. I've given everyone free access to that for the next 3 days only. So there is the link in the description. That's a good place to start, and then it just continues from there. And I'm still discovering more of my soul purpose and gifts all the time, so it's gonna keep going on. But of course you need that first bit of clarity before you can actually commit to starting a training. If you still have doubts, am I meant to be on the shamanic path? Of course you're not gonna be able to go forwards and take these next steps if you still have doubts and fears around that. So my advice again would be start with the initiation, and then that should really clarify for you, do I have a shamanic calling or not? And then of course you can come on a chat with me, we can talk more about it and see what the next step might be for you. And then it's a journey of discovery, really like learning shamanic journeying, learning how to access your subconscious, your superconscious, all the levels of your being, getting to know your higher self, your soul self, becoming really familiar with your spirit guides, with your power animals. All of that are bits and pieces of yourself and of your purpose. And over this time of really discovering yourself through shamanism, it's all going to come together. It's all pieces of the puzzle, and then at some point you're going to see the big picture of what it's going to be evolving into, what your purpose really is, and how it manifests into the 3D for you in terms of what exactly you do for clients, what you're going to name your business, how you're going to make money, what kinds of things you're going to offer. All of that is a result of that energetic clarity that you have to gather first. So I hope that was helpful. But I can draw a card for you as well if you'd like that, Peter, to help you with that, to give you some inspiration. I'm gonna do that in a moment, but let me first answer some more of the questions I've received. And again, if you're here with me live, keep asking questions. If you are watching this on the replay, ask me anything as well. I will check back in with all of you later. I wasn't done with Hope yet. Hope asked more questions. Can we integrate shamanic healing with other healing modalities, or is that frowned upon? Actually, I think that, shamanism is two different things, right? It is what I just talked about before. It is this way of accessing different levels of our consciousness, which we need to do to gain clarity and actually shift energy for the purpose of healing. But it also is a specific modality, right? It is a modality that has specific steps of how the soul level healing works, and you can't really change those steps. They are just the way they are, just like frying an egg works the way frying an egg works, not in a different way. But most of my apprentices have already done other healing modalities before they come into the program. It is still definitely also a great program if you're a complete newbie, but most of them already have some kind of other healing modality under their belt, and they find out through the training that yes, it is actually a part of shamanism. Usually all of our modern healing modalities have developed from shamanism anyway, but they're just like, one piece of what shamanism really is. So it can be really useful though. Like I said before, like if you're already a Reiki master, absolutely after a shamanic healing session, use Reiki to give your clients the energy boost that they need to integrate this healing, right? Or one of my friends is a massage therapist, and he can really help people relax before a shamanic healing by just like giving them a massage first, because you can't receive a shamanic healing if you're not relaxed. So we always must find a way to relax our clients before we do that healing on them. So that can also be something that is really helpful. Or if you are a musician, you could, like, there's so many ways you can integrate it. So absolutely you can do that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I think that was everything for Hope. Good. Okay, now who else has asked me questions? Minna. Minna, I just talked to her yesterday. How to be safe and grounded when dealing with energies? How to get rid of negative energies? How to heal myself and others from past traumas? So how to be safe and grounded? Shamanism is basically the access to the whole universe, right? So of course you want to be learning it in a safe way. And for me, the way I have managed to teach in a really safe way for the past 10 years is through shamanic yoga. That means I integrated I integrated yogic practices into how I teach shamanism so that I can teach it safely, right? So we start with the body, then we go into the mind, then we go into the heart, to our emotions, and then we work with the soul level. And this way you're building a really strong foundation of getting to know who you are on all levels, how your energy really works. And then, you won't end up with any negative, intrusions from doing your work. Also, the way that I teach shamanism, I've built some safety mechanisms into how you perform shamanic journeys and shamanic healings that I don't think anyone else is using. I really channeled them because I'm also a very sensitive person. I'm very sensitive to all kinds of energies. So I thought that was really helpful. Many clients who come to me already have experienced negative energies, and I'm quite scared of that, but it hasn't happened to any of my clients in all of those years. So I'm really proud of that. And grounding is a big thing. Usually when we are healers, when we are feeling drawn to becoming healers, we have very open higher chakras. Our superconscious is quite active, and we have to learn proper grounding in the 3D. Maybe you can relate to that feeling. Let me know in the comments if you can, that you don't really belong on earth. You feel like part of you doesn't seem to fit in, and that's because you are already very aware of your soul self, of your higher self, that is not of the earth, right? That is eternal. And to be really safe when you practice any energy healing modality, you have to learn proper grounding first. And that's one of the things that I love so much about shamanism, is that it gives you proper grounding, which I did not have when I first started out on my healing journey. When I was like an insane yogini, I was doing yoga so intensely every day, like everything from asana to meditation to pranayama to kriya, mudra, bandhas. I did all of it, and I was very ungrounded. And then, I got pregnant. My son gave me that grounding, another thing that our kids do for us. And then I was initiated into shamanism. Or actually, it was just before I got pregnant that I was initiated into shamanism. So pregnancy and shamanism gave me the grounding that I needed, otherwise I would have already floated off. And that might still happen to me any of those days, But it is really important to learn shamanic journeying in the right way and get that proper grounding first, and then you start to appreciate the 3D so much more for what it has to offer. And it just is amazing when you don't want to use spirituality as an escape anymore, but you can actually appreciate the 3D for what it is. And for me, a big part of teaching shamanism is teaching shamanic living. Like, how can I take all of these insights that I'm gaining from the energetic realms, and how can I actually bring them into my 3D reality? And that is very powerful, right? When it's not, you don't have this, okay, I'm on the mat, I'm in the trance state, everything is good, I'm love and light, and then I go back to my 3D life and everything is like very different, right? We have to find a way to bridge that duality. And for me, shamanism is a really good way of doing that, at least in the way that I teach it. And I hope that answers your question. I was like talking about all kinds of things here, but this is basically how to be safe and grounded, learn it in the right way. And there's a lot of different grounding techniques, but I think the energetic ones are the most powerful ones. Of course, it helps all the 3D stuff as well, like walking barefoot, spending time in nature, swim, work with the energies of fire, like have crystals, like all of these things can be grounding, right? Eat healthy food, organic food that's fresh, like all of these things can be grounding, having pets and all of it. But the energetic grounding practices are the most important ones for us healers. Now, how to get rid of existing negative energies, like we were talking about yesterday in our chat, in your house and within other people. This is part of what you learn as a shamanic healer, is how to do extraction work, right? Extraction work might be all kinds of energies. They might be really negative energies that have a negative influence on the person, no matter if that is like an entity that's there, or if that is energies of the person themselves that is just outdated, it is the residue of trauma, things like that. You learn how to remove that. And you also learn, what I think is really important, many healers don't know how to do, is how to become a really clear channel. So they're kind of like providing healings based on their own life force, which is a sure recipe for burnout if you do that long term. You really must learn how to become a channel for spirit, how to let these energies flow through you. And that's also how you avoid getting any attachments, negative attachments as a healer, because you're actually not involving your own life force in the healing. And that's a skill that you have to practice and learn, which is also something that I teach in Shamanic Stars. And this is how we heal from past traumas, like I mentioned before, the extraction work, and also the retrievals. In traumatic situations, in past lives, in childhood, we lose soul pieces and we need to get them back, right? It's a survival mechanism. It makes it possible for the rest of our soul to keep going on. So it is a very important mechanism that it exists, but it's also very important to know how to get the soul pieces back, to integrate that trauma back into all of who we are. And we also always develop gifts from that. We always have insights from that. So it's really amazing when that happens. The problem is just that there aren't that many good shamans left in the world anymore. These skills have been neglected for hundreds of years in the West and the modern world. And so that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing, to teach many more how to perform these powerful healings so that we can all heal as a collective as well. I hope that answers your questions, Mina. Now let me just check the comments. Melissa, hi. What is obstructing my spiritual growth and career? I feel ready to launch my healing career, but I'm still not doing it. Well, like I said before, it might be because you don't have any mentor currently, because you don't have accountability. That might be it. When you are, starting a business, you are, that's a big thing. Your business, ideally, when you're a healer, is a manifestation of your soul purpose, right? And that is a really big thing, to become that visible and to go out there and to do that, and to say, I'm making money by being me. I'm not trading my time for money anymore. I'm not, being constricted anymore by some kinds of schedule that someone else makes for me, some kinds of rules someone else makes for me. I'm not dependent anymore on a paycheck. You have to accept a lot of responsibility for yourself to be able to do that. So there might be some inner child wounds that keep you from doing that. There might be some shadow work left for you to do. There might be some soul level trauma that's causing you to not do that. And it might also be that, it's just something that's hard to do and you just need that accountability and that mentorship. So that would be my input for you. I hope that makes sense. Now, Kimberly asked, how can I open my intuition? So intuition, it means different things. So intuition can mean, a gut feeling, intuition can mean an insight that you receive through your third eye, but it is something, it's like a deeper truth, right, that comes up. And again, my advice is learn shamanic journeying. It is the safest way to really access spirit and our own soul's guidance and our own heart's guidance. And that's ideally what we receive through our intuition, is what is right for my soul, what is right for my heart. And that's sometimes really hard to do because we are so used to doing and thinking, and it really blocks this intuition. And of course, chakra healing might also be really helpful for you to unblock a third eye block that you might have, and unblock like a navel chakra block that you might have, and a heart chakra block that you might have. And NASA is asking, how can I know if I have what it takes to be a healer? And like, NASA was joining the initiation, and I really think that if you are drawn to shamanism, it is for a reason, right? It is for a reason, and it usually means that you have already been a shamanic healer in a past life, and that's why you're drawn to it. So many of us don't even understand, why am I drawn to shamanism? I don't even know that much about it. That was certainly my case when my shamanic initiation started to happen, started to unfold. And I just, had the courage to trust this guidance that I was receiving, and it was very strong in my case. I feel like I didn't really have a choice, and I'm grateful for that I just went with it against the advice of everyone, all of my friends and family, basically. I just did it. And it's like been guiding me to the most magical places. So usually this, this doubt, these fears, that comes from childhood trauma usually, and also sometimes past life trauma, the witch wound, imposter syndrome. We're having a healing session coming up on the next new moon on September the 2nd. I still have, I just opened that up yesterday, so I still have all the 4 spaces available for that. So if you want in on that, to really take care of those soul level wounds, let me know. I'll send you the link so you can have a look at it. And usually if you're guided towards shamanism, it means you do have what it takes. And if you're still not sure, shaman initiation should have answered this question for you. Getting through those 3 days really gives you a lot of clarity and confidence. And now Titi was asking, Titi just joined Shamanic Stars on Monday. So congratulations again. How to get in contact with my guides, how to communicate with them, what do I need to do when it comes to training and healing before I can justify doing it, and use a drum during healing sessions with others, and how to do a shamanic journey to connect with spirits. Okay, so how to contact your guides and communicate with them, again, that's dependent on your connection to spirit. You need to learn how to access higher consciousness. It's basically like you elevate your energy upwards. That's a very simple way of describing it. It's like the branches of your tree. You're starting to stretch them further up into the sky. It's like your antennas to spirit. And it takes practice to do that. And the cool thing about doing a training like mine is that you actually get guided step by step. So you don't have to figure it out yourself, and you're gonna know that this is a tried and true method, and that it's gonna be safe to do that. Because obviously when you open up that much your higher chakras, there is also negative stuff coming in if you're not aware of that and you don't have any practices in place to prevent that from happening. What do I need to do when it comes to training and healing before you can justify doing it with others? Well, you have to make sure that your training is solid, right? That you really know how to create life-changing results for your clients, how to shift soul level energy, and how to protect yourself and your client in the process. And that's why you need a proper apprenticeship, a proper mentorship. You can't just learn shamanism from reading a book or from doing an online course that has no mentorship, no support, no accountability. It will just not work. Shamanism has always been passed down from mentor to apprentice, and I think it's fascinating that we can do it live, that we can do it online these days. It just makes it so much easier for people to come together from all over the world. It makes it so much easier that everyone can learn at their own pace, and makes it very powerful as well, since you don't just learn it within the space of like a month in a very concentrated way, which might be too much for your consciousness to take everything in, but you actually get to do it at your pace. You get to repeat things. So it's fascinating that we get to do that nowadays, but you still need someone in front of you who's actually willing to take the time to understand who you are and to guide you each step of the way. And I am one of these magical people that is actually willing to do that. Okay, so what else was Titi asking? Yes, the drum, you can't just like buy a drum, even if it is a one-handed frame drum, and think it's a shamanic drum. It doesn't work like that. The drum gets its powers not just from how it is made, although that can be part of its power. If it is birthed in a ritualistic way, then that's definitely helpful, but it becomes a shamanic drum because you are the shaman, right? You have to have already owned that, embraced that, and started developing your gifts, and also because of the drum spirit that's inside of the drum. So no point in getting a drum before you haven't started your training and taking care of that. How does shamanic journey work to connect with spirits? It's really a step-by-step process. I teach this over 9 weeks. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not something that you can just, if I could tell you the steps now I actually do in the shaman initiation, I go into that in detail, so you can check that out. But there's no point in telling you the step-by-step way. Like you can't do it by yourself, right? You really have to be guided. So because if I say, for example, one of the steps is grounding, how do you know you're really doing it? How do you know you're doing it enough? How do you know it's really happening? There is always this feedback that needs to happen, and it's great when you start to trust yourself and your spiritual connection, and when you get feedback from within. But it's also necessary to have someone who's incarnated in the 3D to give you feedback, because your spirit guides don't know anything about being incarnated, right? Even if they are ascended masters, they have been incarnated at some point, but still, they are not now, and you need to understand how all of this works for you on all levels, right? Not just you in the spiritual realm, but also you in your body, right? I hope that answers your questions. Now, Lini was asking, how do soul retrievals work, and how does body and soul healing work, and how do you perform effective meditation? Well, soul retrievals work by the shaman is in a trance state, right, induced by the drum, and the shaman travels back through space and time and looks for soul pieces that are related to the topic that you're working on and finds them either in childhood or in past lives. And there's always some kind of trauma that happened in that situation when the soul splits. And then in shamanism, we learn um, how to perceive these energies, how to find out what happened, and how to bring those soul pieces back to the person and how to integrate them. That's basically a short description of how it works. And how does body and soul healing connect? The body is expressing what's going on the soul level, right? The body is also expressing what's going on the emotional level, and it's expressing what's going on the mental level. So the body is this fascinating end product manifestation of what's going on with us on the other energetic planes. When something is happening in the body that needs healing, it means that you did not manage to heal it when it was on the soul level only. You did not manage to heal it when it was only on the mental and emotional planes, but it's already manifested into the body now. So it means healing is definitely soul level healing is definitely necessary. And then also you need to find a way of how to integrate it into the emotional and mental planes, which is why I always say the shamanic healing process is 50%, and then comes the integration, which is what I also teach my apprentices, how to do that successfully, to make sure that the clients actually start to exhibit healing on the physical level as well, on the emotional level. You were specifically asking about the body, but it also works like that. In relationships, there is an integration that's necessary. And how does effective meditation work? Well, I struggled with meditation a lot when I was just trying to practice yogic meditation. I did manage to really calm my thoughts, but it was very hard in the beginning. I still remember I struggled with that for years. And what really helped me do it in much a more effective way is the shamanic drum. It just really is that trance state. It just induces different brain waves, and then it's a lot easier to calm your thoughts and to learn how to flow back into your heart and to process your feelings, and also how to access higher consciousness in that way. But for me, classic meditation, I now love stillness meditation. I now do stillness meditation every day, and I just really love it. But I would have never gotten to that place where I can just access my inner peace just like that within seconds if I hadn't learned shamanic journeying first. And that's also why I channel so many shamanic meditations for my clients, where it is a meditation, a guided meditation, but it uses the drums and all other shamanic elements. It makes it a lot easier to really calm down your mind and really feel into the other dimensions of your being, whatever you're working with at that time, be that the body or the heart or the soul. I hope that answers your questions, Linny. And Tracy was asking about soul entanglement, ancestral karma, and the twin flame syndrome. So, soul entanglement, that basically means that you've exchanged soul pieces with someone. So we already talked about soul loss and soul retrievals, right? In traumatic situations, we can lose soul pieces and then we need to get them back. But soul entanglement is when you lose a soul piece, you don't actually lose them, you give them away. It's a conscious process that's happened. I mean, on some level, you're conscious of it happening. It's a survival mechanism that keeps the soul, the core of the soul intact, right? The core of the soul is always the same, always eternal, goes on from lifetime to lifetime. And then we have all of these soul pieces. It's like our layers of growth, it's like our soul power grows from lifetime to lifetime, but we can also lose part of these pieces and we need them back to keep growing. And when we have a soul entanglement, we've exchanged soul pieces with someone, and that usually happens only with parents and with lovers. So basically they are holding a soul piece of ours and we're holding a soul piece of them, and it makes very weird karmic stuff happen. So yeah, same way, shamanic healing is the key to exchange those soul pieces back, so that you can both be in your core energy again and feel whole, and you get to have a real relationship, right? You can't really have a clean relationship with someone that's constructive if you're all entangled. Relating to each other means that there is there is some kind of space between the two of you, right? You can't relate to something if there is no space between you. If you're entangled, then you can't relate to each other in a beautiful way. You need to both be in your wholeness. Then you can create something beautiful together. And ancestral karma, yeah, we all carry that around with us, whatever our ancestors have gone through. I mean, this is even in our DNA, right? We have literally all been within our grandmother's belly already. Any experiences that she went through, that our mothers went through, I think they have the strongest influence on us because there is the body involved in that as well. If that was complicated, what I just said, the egg that we came from within our mother's belly was already in our grandmother's belly when she was pregnant with our mother. So it's very fascinating. So I think our mother and grandmother on the maternal side have the biggest karmic influence on us. But of course, just energetically, as all of our ancestors do, right? And the way to find out the extent of that is, again, to learn how to travel the energetic realm, the energetic basis of all that is, by expanding your consciousness and learning shamanic journeying and healing to explore that. And I've worked a lot on those topics through shamanic constellations. I'm also trained in family constellations, specifically shamanic family constellations, where you actually get your soul pieces back from the ancestral entanglements. And it's very fascinating. At some point I'll do a retreat here in Thailand where I'll be offering that as well. Now, the twin flame journey, this is basically someone that you are very entangled with over many lifetimes in a karmic way. And I totally know what that feels like. Those are relationships are really hard to navigate. And it's, again, a really good way to, a really, good occasion to decide to learn shamanic journeying, because then you can actually understand what's going on and take a step back from the physical attraction, from the mind fuck that can happen around all of those relationships, and really be like, okay, what's actually going on here energetically and what needs healing. Okay, those are just this is just a tiny portion of the questions that I've received so far. So if I didn't answer your specific questions, let me have them in the comments now or later. And let me just check the comments I've received so far. Bitlinde Salamatsian from Lombok. Beautiful that you're on Lombok. By soul pieces being lost, do you mean our shadow selves? No, our shadows are something different. Our shadows are basically, they start out as emotions that we push down, that we don't want to feel. And we do that for so long until a shadow has formed. So our shadows are usually connected to sadness, guilt, anger, shame, those big negative emotions. And then these propel us to act in a certain way that is usually destructive. So shadow work involves really becoming present with those emotions and processing them and healing from them. And shamanism, again, is an amazing modality to do that. And the Moon Tribe membership, I have a very deep shadow work program, the Dark Goddess initiation, which is my deepest of all journeys that I've ever created. It's very age-old feminine wisdom that's put into that. And it's a 2-week journey that also involves fasting. It's part of the Moon Tribe. And I also teach how to do shadow work with yourself using your higher self, which is a lot easier when you know how to do that, this combination, because it's like the higher self is like a barrier between you and the shadow, so you don't feel like you're drowning in it. You really feel like you are supported in the process, and you can allow yourself to finally feel everything that you've not wanted or not been able to feel before, which is basically what trauma is, right? Something bad happens and we don't have the capacity to feel and process it fully in the moment. So yeah, that's why we also do that in Shamanic Stars. You learn how shadow work works the shamanic way. Good. Now I promised some of you a card pull. So we have 9 minutes left. So let's do Danielle first. Danielle, your question was about why you still feel stuck with getting your true voice out in the world and what keeps you from really sharing your heart. Let's see what the cards say. Ooh, beautiful. We were just talking about that. You got the Ancestors card, and it's all about wisdom. So you were asking questions, and I think your ancestors are holding the answers for you. So I would do a shamanic journey if I was you. You know how that works, and connect with your ancestors and seek the answers there. Now, who else wanted a card? Oh yeah, Bita was asking about your children, your twins. You got the flute. Expression. So maybe your children are meant to help you express yourself, you know. Let's see what the card says. I think that's what our children do, you know. They help us, ideally, they invite us at least to tap more into our soul selves and to bring that into expression. The shamanic flute is played with freedom. There are no rules or music scores to follow. It is played as an expression of one's soul, as a direct connection with spirit. The free flow of communication has been missing from your life recently. You have found it hard to express yourself. Sitting out in nature with a shamanic flute will help you get things off your chest. As you play, allow the sounds to meander from your soul, and the music will speak to you in ways you have never felt or heard before. Switch off from your mind and allow yourself to follow the sounds as they emerge through carved wood and the creative element of air. Flute urges you to fully express yourself, as this will shift your consciousness. Instead of being stifled and trapped, your true essence will soon spring to life. As the freedom returns to your creative flow, a lively new enthusiasm for your passion will follow. Inspired action involves your spiritual path. Now is not the time to hold back. Flute gives you express permission to speak your truth and to sway to your new tune. Rejoice to the song of life. So many things here, right? So many answers for you. Your children are meant to help you express yourself, to be more free, to kind of dance to your own tune in life, to seek a deeper connection with spirit, to switch off from your mind. Wow, it's like, you know, to escape that feeling of being trapped, to return to your creative flow. There's so many inspirations there to stop holding back, to take inspired action, to rejoice in life. Okay, I hope that resonates. Now, Peta wanted a card concerning her purpose and her path and her gifts. Ooh, you got the upper world, which is all about the future. I was talking about the upper world before. It's symbolized by the branches of the tree. It is the superconscious. So this card is really encouraging you to explore the upper world, you know, to decide, you know, what your future is going to look like, to learn shamanic journeying, to access higher consciousness. And that's where all the secrets of your soul path lie. Good, ladies. That was such a beautiful session. I could keep talking about all of this forever and ever. So if you have more questions for me, do let me know. And just to remind you, the shaman initiation is free. If you join today, you still get 3 days of access until Friday. I cannot prolong that time, so don't complain later if you haven't prioritized. Just jump in today. It's really just takes 4 hours to get through it, and it's absolutely life-changing material. Even if you've done the shaman initiation before, do it again. You will hear new things. You will get new inspirations. The group will close down on Friday, so this is the last chance to experience it, which is why I'm inviting everyone in for free. If you're interested in a full apprenticeship, including business coaching, then get on a chat with me before I close down registration. You have both of those links in the description above. If you're interested in our next VIP shamanic healing session, where we're going to work on healing the witch wound and imposter syndrome, which is what holds a lot of women back from really embracing and living their calling, let me know. I can send you information on the healing session coming up on September the 2nd on the new moon. And if you're interested in the moon tribe, to really up-level your self-care, your self-healing, the shamanic way, and also up-level your finances, there's a lot of money healing in there as well. Let me know. It's really affordable. I'm even having it on discount right now for the launch that is going to happen at some point in September. So this is like pre-launch phase. So you're going to be extra VIPs when you come in. There's going to be live sessions starting in September as well. So it's going to get really good. We're going to create a beautiful community there. And yeah, this was a real pleasure. And I'm sending you all so much love. I hope this was helpful for everyone. Everyone who wasn't here live with me, who's watching this on the recording, don't hesitate to follow up with me in the comments, and I'll get back to you later. And in the meantime, lots of love to everyone. Mwah. Bye for now.